All right, guys, we're live. A couple minutes late, and tonight I got a couple things I want to talk to you about, and each one I thought about doing a whole video for, but in fact I decided what I would do is just kind of talk about them at the same time. Okay, so let's jump right into one thing, a little bit of housekeeping here. All right, if you pop over to metro-eastlibertarians.com, which I should link in the comments here, we're selling these shirts. So you can buy a shirt from us, and if you do so, you'll be supporting Metro East Libertarians. The money does actually go to me, but then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to use that money for other types of activism. If you've been following Metro East Libertarians for a while, you'll know that this stuff costs money. Facebook advertisements, doing these live streams doesn't directly cost me money, but it costs me a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I got a ton of equipment here that I'm using for this. But anyway, we do need money. We need money for buying candy for the parades that we walked in. Metro East Libertarians was just in their first parade. We need money for, like I said, Facebook advertisements, that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not showing you this because I'm trying to extract money out of you. Actually, I just wanted to show you because it's kind of cool. Go over to Metro East Libertarians and check it out. Mixing a couple different concepts with the shirts there. But if you're running a campaign, there's no reason for you not to be selling shirts on your campaign website. I remember last year, some people had some campaign shirts, and other people were left wondering, how do I get a campaign shirt? Okay. Traditionally, the way people have done, the way I think people have done campaign shirts, is they'll go get some shirts made, they pay a setup fee. Oh gosh, sorry about that. They pay a setup fee, there's a minimum order, and you have X number of money on hand, you do a run, and then you hope that you can sell those or collect enough donations for them or whatever. Okay? That's the wrong way to do campaign shirts, in my humble but completely accurate opinion. What you need to do is, what I'm doing here is I've got a free e-commerce package plugged into my WordPress site. It's called WooCommerce. It works perfectly well. I was using it for my failed gun holster business. If you need a gun holster, don't hit me up. I don't really like making them. Using it for that. And then this site called The Printful, I go in and I do my designs there, plugs directly into WooCommerce, right? You set your graphics, you set your prices, you set up your PayPal and all that stuff, and when someone makes an order through your site, it automatically triggers The Printful to print that shirt and send it to the recipient, okay? If you're running a campaign, you can plug this right into your website. You don't have to buy a single shirt. If your campaign goes down in flames, you didn't spend $1 on shirts that nobody is going to wear, and you got to send to like poor people in Africa or whatever. Not that it's not a good idea to send shirts to poor people in Africa, but you don't spend a dime on it. And in fact, when someone comes to your website and they want a shirt, you set the price to where you're actually getting a little donation out of it, and it can be a moneymaker for your campaign. In my opinion, now is the time to start doing this. You should have campaign shirts available like ASAP. Now, the reason is, me as an activist, I would love this so I can wear your shirt while I'm out petitioning for you. All right? It makes the campaign look a little bit more credible. The other thing is, you can start bringing in money from it right away. You could have a thing on your website where you say like, give me a $10 donation, or give me $15 plus shipping, and you get a shirt. Okay, we're living in an age today where people really kind of want something for their money. Like hardcore people like me, other ANCAPs, whatever, we know more or less what we're getting when we donate to somebody's campaign. Hopefully. But there's a lot of people out there that maybe they're a casual supporter, maybe they're an activist, and they might be thinking, well, I'm already out petitioning, so I'm already kind of giving my time. I don't really feel that I need to give money to the campaign. Okay. Other people that are just kind of on the fence or casual observer, like, I'd wear a shirt if I had one, but I'm not going to go to great lengths to get it, and I'm not really motivated to just give them money. But if you have a shirt, then that's a tangible thing. Okay, so they can say, oh, well, I'm paying money to the campaign, I'm making a donation to the campaign, but I'm actually getting something out of it. Then the thing is, again, I want to emphasize, you don't have to touch this at all. So this is just going to go out into the wild, and everybody's just going to have them. I'm going to adjust my audio down a little bit here. Everybody's just going to have them, and then your campaign is getting exposure wherever that person is wearing that shirt. So, in my opinion, that's a great thing. The other campaigns have shirts. People are wearing other campaign shirts for the old parties. We should have shirts. If you put up shirts, next time I get paid, whenever it is, I'll buy one. And I guarantee a lot of the people from our chapter will buy one. And then you got people that don't even live in your area. You didn't even have to talk to them. They're wearing your t-shirt. Okay. So that's the last thing. Oh, last thing I'm going to say on that. If you do decide to go with a service like the Printful, they do have an affiliate type of thing. So if you're going to sign up for that, don't just go sign up for it right now for your campaign. I'd like to get you an affiliate link so that when you sign up for it and then I buy the shirt, I actually get a little bit of money for it. And then, honestly, first campaign to do it, they should be having the other people use their affiliate link to sign up for their accounts as well. And that way, when somebody else orders, then your campaign gets a little bit more, and it doesn't cost you anything. It comes out of, it's a program that the company itself runs. So it's just a way for you get a little bit more. You spread the money around a little bit more, like socialism, right? Okay. Wait, that's not what we're doing. Oh, those libertarians. Okay. All right. That's seriously, finally, that's all I have to say about that. So, yeah, go to Metro East Libertarians and check out the cool shirt designs. Get your own account on the Printful. Start doing on-demand shirts for your campaign. I really think there's no excuse not to do it. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about, and that's the title of this show, is the Sugary Drink Tax. Down here we say in Chicago, but quite honestly, it's Cook County, if you will. They're the ones that passed it. Now, I've got a couple graphics that I've nicked off of Illinois Policy. If you're not following Illinois Policy, you should. I mean, they got a lot of good stuff. So, the city of Chicago, that's too small. Let me bring this up. All right, you're not going to be able to see me for a minute. The city of Chicago, Cook County implemented this Sugary Drinks Tax. It's like a penny an ounce for sugary drinks. And here's a little breakdown of what it's going to cost you and everything when you buy it. You've already heard me being vocal about this. I want people to avoid paying this at all costs. Any of these voluntary taxes, and when I say voluntary, I mean you don't have to partake in a particular service in order to get it, you have to partake in a particular service in order to pay the tax. I'm checking my stream status. I'm still good. Okay. I really want people to opt out of these. Okay. A lot of the information coming out now is that, if you opt out of it, you're hurting local retailers and all this kind of stuff. I'm not the one, by opting out, I'm not hurting the local retailer. Cook County is. They're the ones that put this tax on that's incentivizing me to go shop somewhere else. People respond to incentives. The government just doesn't understand this. Now, what I want to say about this is this the board president by the name of Tony Preckwinkle. Oh, sounds like a derogatory term, but that's apparently what her name is. She said she voted for this on the grounds that it was a good public health measure, and they have budgetary items that they need to cover, and there's no way to cover these budgetary items other than something like this. And then this one has the added benefit that there's a health component to it as well, a public health component that by discouraging people from buying sugary drinks, they're all of a sudden just all going to get healthier. Now, I will say this. Yes, sugary drinks are a public health issue. Okay, I agree with that. Yes, diabetes, and particularly what I mean is adult onset diabetes. Yes, this is a major issue. I just heard a guy, of course he was promoting a keto diet, which I'm doing a keto diet, full disclosure. I just heard a guy talking about how something like $200 billion of Medicare expenditure is due directly to type 2 diabetes. I don't know how he came up with that number. It was on the Joe Rogan podcast when he interviewed Dom D'Agostino. You can go check it out. Check his sources. It's not mine. It's not my source. Anyway, type 2 diabetes, adult onset diabetes, is a real problem. Okay, let's be real. But is it up to the government to tax people into not getting diabetes? No. And the other thing is, if you're trying to look at this from like a health perspective, and you're just saying, okay, well, what are the things that will directly affect people's insulin resistance and things like that? There should be a tax on French fries based on the amount of French fries versus the weight of the person. I mean, that's the kind of detail that we're getting into here. There should be a tax on craft beer. There should be a tax on all kinds of things that are just full of carbohydrates that's going to result in an insulin response in your system. This is bullcrap. And then on top of it, they do have the tax on diet drinks as well. And Preckwinkle says that it's because the research shows that drinking diet drinks is bad for some other such reason. So now we're even moving away from diabetes and weight gain, and we're getting into research by the American Heart Association or some crap. Okay, what I'm getting at here is whatever it takes to sell it, that's what they're going to do. Now, here, let me introduce this next graphic because this is pertinent to the next argument I'm going to make. All right, a new poll has found that 87% of Cook County residents do not approve of the tax. Okay, that, in my opinion, is key. The people don't want this, right? People of Cook County are very upset about this. They do not want this tax. The retailers are upset about it because it's hurting them big time. They're already losing jobs. That was another thing. Preckwinkle says that they were going to have to lay off like 1,000 people if they don't do this tax. Now, I'm going to attack the idea that this has got anything to do with public health. This has everything to do with how much money can they get out of the populace, and what do they have to do it. That's all it is, right? This idea, and we've seen this with marijuana legalization as well. All right, you'll have people who are normally against marijuana legalization. They'll say, well, maybe we need to look at legalizing marijuana since we have these budgetary issues. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Now that you think, our whole lives we've been told that marijuana is illegal because of all the damage it does to families and all the damage it'll do to your health and your development, and it leads to other drugs and all this kind of stuff. But now that the state needs money, now the state's going, well, maybe marijuana is not as bad. Oh, and it doesn't also help, also public opinion is completely swayed against the state on prohibition of marijuana. So now they're going, well, maybe it's a revenue source. Maybe instead of trying to lie about how we've got it illegal and we have to kick down your door and kill your dog because, this stuff's bad for your lungs, now we can pad our pensions with it. So now we want to legalize. The same thing is going on here with the sugary drink tax. Okay, they're saying, how do we get money from the people? Okay, we're going to sell it on these bullcrap means. Now, 87% of the people disapprove of it, right? This should essentially show you that in a democracy, all these people were presumably elected in free elections, right? They filed for office. They went out and they campaigned. They told people what they were going to do for the campaign and everything, and they won. All right. Now, what we have is proof, irrefutable proof, that the people are not represented in any tangible way. That's the only conclusion you can come to. So that whole exercise you did with the election and all this kind of stuff, what did it get you? Nothing. It got you not a thing. And when libertarians go around and they say, well, democracy really isn't that great of an idea, this is what we mean. You look at Congress, and you say, well, Congress has a 98% retention rate, and they have like a 20% approval rate. Well, what's that about? Well, the people in the next state or the next district or whoever else, they're electing these idiots. I'm not super happy with my representative, but their representatives, they're the problem. Somebody else is the problem. Well, here we have it at a county level. Okay? Not represented in any tangible way, the will of the people. Okay. I was going to go into more of that, but all right. So they sold it. So then the approval rating, I didn't get a graphic from this, but what I do have is a graphic. That's the last one I wanted to do, so we'll come back to that. Okay. So now the Illinois Retailers Something Association filed a lawsuit to get this, to get a stay. Okay, the judge ruled in their favor initially in the lawsuit. Then Preckwinkle countersued, so they were going to sue for the lost revenue of $17 million. They were going to sue the plaintiffs in the lawsuit. Now, to me, again, we've proven it's about money. It's not about public health. And then that action right there, I think, really describes it. Now, look at what these people are willing to do. They don't represent the people in any tangible way. She's saying, I have these services and I have these things that I have to provide, and you're telling me, you tell me how to provide them if you don't think it's this. I'll get to this letter that she wrote to the Chicago Sun here in a second. Scathing letter to the editor. Obviously, the people don't want it. 87% of the people don't want what you're selling because they don't like this tax. Okay. Then what you're going to tell me is after... So she's going to go after the people who filed the lawsuit. A judge ruled in their favor. So the judge took action, and she's going to say, okay, you go file a lawsuit against us. I'm going to come after you using the full force of government that doesn't represent you to begin with, and go directly after you for something a judge did. Insane. You talk about wielding government force as a hammer against the people. Ridiculous. Okay, so I really think that's why the title of this thing is has to do with the nature of government. This is what we're seeing. This is what these people think that they're doing. All right. Now here we have, after threatening thousands of job cuts, President Preckwinkle agrees to a lucrative contract with one of Cook County's unions. So she gave this union, a Teamsters Local 710 or some crap, I don't know. She gave them this freaking sweetheart contract that, man, I mean, if you work in the private sector and you see what she did for this union, something about a $1,200 signing bonus. How do you get a $1,200 signing bonus for a contract for a position you already work in? You're going to get $1,200. There's a bunch of pension stuff in there. They're going to get 4% raises every year. If you work in the private sector and you're getting a 4% raise every year, you work for the right company. Let me know what it is you're doing. This is not what we're seeing in the real world. These people are not living in the real world. Okay? They're living off of us. They're living this crazy world where they get paid for their whole life after 8 years. There's a lot of these places, there's a lot of these union or retirement funds that you can be vested after 8 years. You'll get a pension when you're 50-something years old. It's amazing. Okay? So anyway, this just infuriates me. And then, okay, now here's a little bit of good news for the people of Cook County. Bill 4082 would override this kind of action. So the Illinois Legislative Assembly is looking at outlawing this, which would repeal it. Now, if they do, then what's Cook County going to do with their fancy new contract that they just signed? But here's a tip too. So they got like $500 million a year in Cook County going into a TIF fund. Now, if you've seen any of the videos that I've done on TIFs, I'm wildly against TIFs because it's just a slush fund the politicians can use to give to their politically connected cronies and stuff. It has nothing to do with economic development. No study has ever shown it to be successful, and yet its use is rampant And we can look at case after case of TIF funds being misused and just handed out like candy. It's just amazing. Okay, so basically, gosh, if you live in Cook County, please do not pay this tax. Go to DuPage County, go to Lake County, do your shopping there. Really make them feel it. Okay, please, please, please let them burn. Let them burn. Now, last thing is, and I'll put this in the notes. Stream status okay. Not doing great. I'll put a link to this in the notes. She wrote the Preckwinkle. Hope I'm saying that right. I actually don't even care. She says to the Chicago Sun-Times, just a scathing letter that she wrote to them. And she says the editorial board minimizes the health risks of artificially sweetened beverage, stating a sugary drink tax on Diet Coke is like a cigarette tax on a nicotine patch. Tell that to the researchers at American Heart Association, who found that consumption of artificially sweetened beverages doubles the risk of stroke and increases the likelihood of dementia in people who consume 1 to 6 artificially sweetened drinks per week. Okay, let me be clear that when we faced a $174.6 million deficit in our fiscal year 2017 budget, we needed to find a revenue source that, along with expenditure cuts, would allow us to close that gap. Let's she say, okay, sometimes as a public official, you have to tell people what they don't want to hear. Well, you're apparently telling everybody what they don't want to hear because nobody who voted for you likes what you're telling them. Okay. She's saying, now asking for repeal, I would ask if they are willing to reverse the progress we have made in making CCHHS, I guess Cook County Health and Human Services is what that probably stands for, a leading provider of choice in the city. With the help of the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid expansion, CCHS has transformed its ability to care for our highest risk and most at-need neighbors, and I, for one, am not willing to go back. Okay, so it's not about health, it's about contracts, and it's about funding this thing, the CCHS deal. Now, look, people need help, I get it. You have at-risk people that need some sort of charitable action on their, to help them receive health care. But if 87% of the people are against this tax, they either think, A, they don't want this, and you saying you're unwilling to go back is saying you don't care what they think, which I think we've shown. And then B, this you could fund it some other kind of way. You have a $500 million a year TIF fund, and you're $174 million deficit every year, and then you're providing this kind of stuff. Is it Chicago's job to provide health care for people? I don't really think it is. Or Cook County, mind you. I don't think it is. So, and I think the people are signaling that it needs to be done a different way. And this tax is just going to hurt people. It's going to hurt the people's pocketbook. It's going to hurt the retailers in Cook County. It's going to drive businesses out. There's already been reports that hours are being cut and employment's being cut in these retailers. So, I'm sorry, man. Cook County's made their bed. They're going to have to lie in it. They're going to have to try something else. These sweetheart union deals aren't going to cut it anymore. And the people have spoken. They've already shown. Now, she's probably not going to win re-election. I hope that the board members that are in there don't win re-election. I mean, something's got to give up there. It's crazy. Anyway, all right. I think I've made my case. Democracy has failed. The government's out to get you. And this whole system that people are defending is just a freaking farce. So I really think I made a conclusive case. And so thanks, Cook County and Tony Preckwinkle, for proving all that for me. Very good. All right. If you like this show, please share it with your friends. I haven't been bringing this to you as much as I'd like. I do plan on, I keep saying I'm gonna make this a weekly deal. We'll see. But if you like this commentary, like I said, share it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching. And